Hello and welcome to what is the first episode of the newly branded channel, The Backlog. And this is going to be the first of many, hopefully, of new TV reviews. I'm joined today by Clay.
Hello.
Clay is our resident new TV expert, more so
Yes.
than me. I think, was it 51 you're at now for
Yeah,
2025?
almost 52 for
Mm.
2025. I just need to watch Welcome to Derry and then Heated Rivalry, which
Mm.
is I've heard some interesting things about both of those shows.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to discuss. It's an interesting one we've got for our first one. I mean, we don't choose what comes out, but this one grabbed my eye, and I pointed it towards Clay, and he thought it'd be up his street. We are reviewing
Yeah.
His and Hers, which in the UK is the number one series on Netflix at the moment. Uh,
Really?
so yeah,
Wow.
we love our crime drama, and we're going to start off non-spoilery, and then whichever one of us wants to bring up a spoiler first, we'll give a spoiler warning then. I think that's probably the way we're going to do it.
Cool.
So, Clay, general thoughts. What did you think? We haven't discussed really. We've kept it a secret from each other. So, what did you think of the show to start off with as a general feel?
Overall, I think it's a very interesting show. It's pretty campy, a lot campier than I expected it would be. I like the characters. Well, no, I pause. I don't like the characters, but I like the actors playing these characters. A lot of these characters are um they're interesting to say the least. It was kind of hard for me to connect to some of them. Uh, it's taken place in Georgia, so obviously these actors put on some sort of accent.
Well, I was going to
Um,
say you probably have a better right to complain about accents than I do.
yeah, these accents are pretty interesting to say the least. I don't know if they're completely all there, but
I think John Bernthal's played a lot of like Southern type characters, so I think it felt a bit more natural from him. But
yeah,
even for me, there were times where a couple characters, I was like, oh, that's like a cliche redneck accent.
yeah. Tessa Thompson, especially.
I
Um,
think for me, I have mixed feelings on this mini series. I
yeah,
wouldn't go out of my way to recommend it. Um, I think there's a lot that I take issue with,
right.
but there was also, like you said, it was so campy that by the time you get to those last two episodes, like it's hard not to be all in. And I guess to talk about the general tone, since you've brought up the campiness,
Yeah,
I think one of my big issues with the show is, without revealing too much, it's a murder mystery, which revolves into a serial killer murder mystery. Um, and it is so dark. Like the content is so graphic and so brutal at times, but the tone is like quite silly and feels like a it feels very much like these like the kind of murder novel that your middle-aged mum would read, you know.
yeah.
And I think that's the kind of book that it's based off. Um, so that tonal imbalance, it did rub me the wrong way a little bit because there's some moments where you're supposed to be taking it dead seriously. There's one big emotional scene at the end of episode 4 between the two leads,
Yeah.
which I actually really love that scene. I think that's one of the best scenes in the whole show. But it's so jarring in the middle of the tone of the rest of the show. So there was definitely a tonal imbalance going on there.
At times it almost felt like a Ryan Murphy show to me. Um, I don't know if you're familiar with him.
Yeah, American Horror Story, right? And
Yeah,
we
in
did the
Glee.
Ratchet show. Yeah, Glee. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did watch Ratchet actually. That was okay. I didn't mind that one.
Yeah.
So I don't know, what did you feel like with the general writing of the show and the tone of it? Because I definitely felt that was it was definitely trying to do two things at once.
Yeah, no, I agree. And you already mentioned the big emotional scene at the end of episode four. But then once you get to episode five and six, it just completely shifts tones, especially the beginning of episode six and the very ending of it. It's just twist after twist that almost seems improbable, to a
It kind
degree.
of reminded me, this is the only way it reminded me of the show, but the first season of Beef, where
Oh,
it's got this like one tone going and it's like trying to juggle multiple tones, and then right at the end it just speeds off down a different direction. You're just like, whoa. I think Beef does it better than this show, but yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Um, I think to talk about standout scenes, for me, that scene at the end of episode four really took me by surprise, but because up to that point I wasn't really finding myself emotionally invested. But yeah, John Bernthal and Tessa Thompson, wow, really good performances in that scene.
Yeah.
But then they just make out afterwards. And it's like, oh, okay.
Yep, yep. Trying to think of other scenes that kind of I really like the character of Priya, and I like the scenes between her and John Berthel, Jack.
I was
Um,
just gonna say she was definitely my favorite character.
yeah, yeah, me too.
Sunita
Um,
Mani plays her. She does a really good job.
she does. Yep, yep. Um, it almost I like their dynamic, and I liked how she's inching closer to the mystery of it all. Um, and yeah, she's really good.
Yeah, in terms of characters, like you mentioned, it's not really a show where you have likable characters. There's quite a few characters, but your main ones you got Jack, played by John Bernthal, and Anna, played by Tessa Thompson. And then you've got Anna's mother, you've got her work colleagues and her boss. You've got Priya, Jack's partner. Most of the characters are pretty one note. They're just cliches, really.
Mhm.
Um, the real depth you get is probably most seen in Tessa Thompson's character, but there's some stuff that gets revealed that does bother me a little bit with her. But we'll get to that in the spoiler section. What did you think?
Another good character. Oh, go ahead.
No, no, you go, you go.
I was going to say another good character is Jack's sister. Um,
Zoe, yeah,
liked her.
yeah. Um, she, yeah, interesting because when you first meet her, it's like, oh, is this? Because the first episode does a good job of like unsettling your expectations because it doesn't really spoon feed who the relations are. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure you don't find out that Jack and Anna are a couple until episode two. But Zoe, like you meet her and I'm like, oh, is this his like girlfriend? Is this someone to do with the kid? Oh no, it's his sister. And then you find out later that she's letting them live with her.
yeah.
Um, and then he's like throwing it in her face that he earns so much more money than her, and you're like, oh, this guy sucks. um, but yeah, I think the big thing that makes the show work is John Bernthal and Tessa Thompson's chemistry. Um, but I don't think they have enough scenes together. Like they have a few, but a lot of their storylines are quite separate.
Yeah, yeah, for
Um,
sure.
yeah. Did
Um,
did you have any other points you wanted to raise before we go into spoilers? Because
uh,
it's quite hard show to talk about without going into spoilers.
it takes a minute to get going. Like you said, I really thought Jack's sister was his girlfriend, and that child was their kid. Uh, and then of course, you get more of their relationship by episode two. I I don't know. That reveal that they're married, that was interesting. Um, the way that was handled. He's like knocking on her hotel door while she's like fucking somebody else. It's very interesting.
Yeah, a guy who's also married.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Spoiler warning. We've kind of done some light spoilers, but if you want to watch this show without it being spoiled, you probably should go in blind if you are going to watch it because that's kind of the fun of it, especially in those last two episodes.
Mhm.
I had some thoughts on the characters. I want to talk about Jack. Um, you said you liked his relationship with Priya. I found it a bit tiresome how he's like constantly being passive aggressive and dismissive. Like it just felt like a massive cliche, and it just made me dislike him more. And there was a couple scenes with that character with he tries 696969 as the password for the phone, which I think was like says a lot about his character. And I don't know about you, but one of the most uncomfortable scenes for me was him taking the swab test on his daughter.
Oh yeah, that was definitely the most uncomfortable for me as well. Because at that point, I thought, I was really thinking that maybe he had something to do with the murder. Obviously, they were together, him and Rachel, the victim, before that. But yeah, that scene with the child and taking the swab. Oof.
And the Face ID at the morgue as well.
Yeah, yeah, that was
Um,
crazy.
what did you think of the big twist at the end of episode 5 with Catherine and Lexi?
Well, um, I thought that they should have included some more flashback scenes, especially with Lexi's character, who, spoiler, ends up being uh, Catherine. That's her name? Yeah. This misunderstood child, teenager. Um, yeah, I felt like we needed a little bit more background. There is a scene where Jack's sister mentions something that happens at their 16th birthday. I feel like we should have been introduced to those scenes like prior to episode 5. Give it a little bit more like fleshed out.
Yeah, I
Um,
think we spend too much time on Catherine getting bullied in the flashbacks. Like they feel quite repetitive. I
yeah.
kind of agree. I think if you introduce the 16th birthday in like the third episode and then have it slowly reveal what happened. Because I mentioned there being an aspect of Anna's character that bothered me. It's revealed in episode 5, I think, that Catherine was raped by a gang of people. But then it's revealed in episode 6 that Anna, through the PTSD, I think, misremembered it and it was actually her that got raped and Catherine like walked off. And it just doesn't sit right with me. Like Anna already has so much trauma. It's not like you need to add more trauma to her character because she lost her child at 7 months old, I think.
Mhm.
I think it's just too much misery porn for that character.
Yeah.
And it kind of feels like a way of justifying the killer's actions of being like, yeah, well, Catherine was kind of a shit person too, so she deserved to die. Uh, yeah, I wasn't a fan of that.
I didn't do this, but it would be interesting to see the fight scene between Anna and Catherine slash Lexi again after knowing the information. Um, because at that point, you really think that Lexi is sort of the victim. But there's also a plot hole too, because there's another flashback where Lexi sort of kills her sister with the inhaler. Um, but if she's not the real killer, which spoilers, she's not, um, why would we have that scene? I don't think she would do that. I
Yeah,
think it's misleading.
yeah, it's definitely like trying to suggest something grander. I guess she did kill her sister, and that was just like one act of revenge. I don't know. It's very convoluted because they do put like 8 or 9 twists in a row, so it makes sense that not all of them land. I think, yeah. What I did, an element I did like from that final episode, I liked that like beat 'em up brawl at the start of the episode. It felt like right out of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, you know.
Mm, yeah.
But I also liked that you had multiple elements going on where you had Priya rushing to the scene, you had Jack rushing to the scene. Um, it felt like everything was coming together in a quite satisfying way. I found the bit where Priya's like confronting Jack a bit stupid because Jack could have just explained that he wasn't the killer and that he just made himself seem so much more suspicious and then just knocked her out anyway. And
Yeah.
then she was just like fine with him afterwards. It's just just doesn't make any sense. Um, but what I was going to say was the element I really liked in that final fight was that when Anna starts attacking them, they are genuinely like shocked. They're like, "What? What are you doing?" Like that's their instant reaction. So you instantly know, "Oh, I don't think they did this because their reaction, it seems quite natural that they're just confused at being
Yeah.
attacked. You're like, there's 35 minutes left of this episode. It's quite a clever little seed that was fairly subtle, which this show didn't do much subtlety, but I thought that was nice. I think they did genuinely just want to do some kinky shit.
Priya ended up being a good shot too, shooting
Very good.
Alexei right in the face.
Mm, yeah. Priya was the real MVP all along. I love her fish tank.
Yeah.
Did you have anything else you really wanted to bring up in terms of your thoughts on the show?
Let me see. Let me see.
What was your favorite episode?
Episode 4, definitely. I think that's the one where they both come to terms with the loss of their child and they make up and it was a pretty intense scene. Um
It's quite long as well. It's like 5 or 6 minutes. Yeah.
yeah. I did not like Helen Wang. Uh I was kind of glad to see that she was an ex-victim. I didn't like her character at all. The lesbianism between Helen and Rachel was interesting.
They could have explored that more, I think.
Yeah,
Mm. Because that's kind of just something that they tell you. They're just like, yeah, they swung both ways.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. What did you think of like the visual style of it? Because this is always an interesting topic of discussion with Netflix shows where you have like the Netflix look, the Netflix drama look. Did you think
Mhm.
this like stood out from other shows? Or
Um, it seemed visually kind of like a Lifetime show, sort of.
yeah,
Uh, I think the makeup is interesting because you see the stab wounds on Rachel's body. That looked that did not look real. I don't know why. They looked like painted red dots on her body. I don't know. Something was just off about that.
yeah. I think there were some moments like there's a spiral staircase top down shot in the first episode when
Mhm.
Anna's in the newsroom. That's really, really good. There's some cool bits of lighting and like just a little sprinkle of visual flair. I like that there's a slightly different like filter on the flashbacks, but not so much that it's like, oh, the flashbacks are in black and white or the flashbacks are in sepia, that cliche. The
Yeah.
flashbacks are like slightly more tinted, um, which I liked. You only really pick up on it if you're paying attention.
Mhm.
Um, and I think, yeah, but there was one sequence I really liked in terms of the way it was shot was Zoe's death. So she's lying in the bath and there's like no music and it just
Oh
cuts
yeah.
outside, inside, outside, and then you just see a shadow appear and then it cuts away. I thought that was really sort of artfully done.
hmm I like the shots of Rachel and Jack in the car, just making love.
Yeah, the sort of lightning strikes and stuff like that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
There was the cuckold character as well, which we haven't really brought up, but
Oh
he
yeah.
was interesting.
Duffy.
Duffy, yeah, that's half of John Bernthal's lines are just, it's Duffy. Duffy's the main suspect.
That
Um,
was interesting.
yeah, there's a lot of it's like I said, between like the darkness of some of the plot twists, um, when they eventually show Zoe's death right at the end, it's
hmm
so brutal. the rape scene, like,
Yeah.
and then all the like kinky, weird sex stuff. Yeah, yeah. I
Mm.
was just gonna bring up the final twist because there's the big twist that Catherine is Lexi, which you then assume, right, okay, that's the big twist of the show. That's where we're going. It's quite ridiculous, but you know, the way Tessa Thompson like looks at the photo of her running a marathon
Mm.
and looks and then it's like um very, very campy. But there is another
Oh, and
twist.
the narrator is Anna, and
Yes.
she name drops the series at the very beginning. There are two sides to every story, his and her.
Mm.
And then you realize that she's reading a letter, which I guess we can talk about.
That yeah, that's what at the very end then it's revealed that Anna's dementia-ridden mother, who doesn't actually have dementia, I guess. I guess she was faking it.
She did
Or
a really
maybe
good job
maybe
at
she
faking it.
does have it and still killed the people. I don't know. Um, she was the one who killed all the people. She's a serial killer, and that she does that bit of narration where she's like, "I killed Rachel to bring you back, and I killed Helen to like bring you home, and then I killed um Zoe to bring you together, like her and Jack." Um, what do you think of that?
Um,
Because this is
well,
the very end of the show. Like this is revealed, and then it ends, and that's it.
yeah. Anna's reaction to reading that letter, I thought she would not approve, but there's a small tear coming down from her eye, and you realize that she she kind of she kind of likes that her mother did this. Um, and I can understand if she had just murdered Rachel and Helen because but she had to murder Zoe,
Yeah, it's
Jack's
like
sister.
it's so weird because that is just gonna break Jack. It's like then they show Zoe getting drowned in the bathtub, and it's like it's a bit too much for me. The little smile at the end, it's very like glorifying criminal activity, you know?
Yeah.
It's just a weird thing to take from it when so much of the show is about like grief and dealing with like when horrific stuff happens to then just like be like, oh yeah, but they deserved it.
Revenge is better, I guess.
Yeah, it's a very odd show, really. I don't know. Neither of us have read the book that it's based on, but it it definitely screams like dollar bin, like true crime reading club mother's book, you know. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so what are your general thoughts on the show to conclude?
Um, I kind of liked moments of it. I like the serious moments. And I'm kind of a sucker for camp, so I did like the big twists. Well, mainly the twist that Lexi was Catherine. I did not care for the end, the twist with the mother. I guess if I had to give a score, it would be a light or a strong six and a light seven, maybe. Most of my shows that I give scores to are 7 out of 10. But this was a little weaker than most of what I've seen. I liked it better than the new season of Stranger Things.
Yeah, I don't think you're alone there. Um, yeah, I think for me the strengths would be the performances. I would say the pacing was quite good. There were some individual scenes that really stood out, and I think I will remember. Um, some moments that I like twists and stuff like that that were pretty cool. In terms of like hanging together as a coherent story, I don't necessarily think I'm there, but I think like if you want some solidly entertaining, like turn your brain off crime thriller, you can do worse than this show. I've got, as viewers of the channel will know, I've got my average episode score, and this
Mhm.
one got a 6.2 out of 10. Which means, yeah, similar to what Clay's saying. I'd probably say a six for me, pretty comfortably. My
Yeah.
favorite episode was probably episode five, but my favorite scene would be the ending of episode four. And not the bit where they have sex afterwards. That was just gratuitous. But the actual scene where they reconcile and deal with all this emotion they've got, and John Bernthal's like breaking up, and Tessa Thompson's breaking up, and then like yeah, they both put in really good performances, and I think John Bernthal's just great in everything. And
Yeah.
I really enjoyed Tessa Thompson and Sunita Mane as well as Priya. Um, so yeah, I mean, if you're looking on the Netflix homepage and you see it and you fancy some campy true crime, sure. But I
It's
think
good that it's short. It's a quick watch.
yeah, it was quite nice. The episodes were pretty short, right? Like they were like 40, 45 minutes each. That was nice. So thank you very much, Clay. We'll see where this lands on our end of 2026 list. There's quite a long way and a lot of shows to get through before then. I don't know what the next one we're going to do is. Maybe I was thinking maybe Night of the Seven Kingdoms. That's coming out soon.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah, we can definitely do that.
that'll be
I know
finished.
his and her won't be getting any Emmys or anything, so it's not
No,
uh, definitely not.
no, it won't be in that contention. But we got Shrinking season three as well coming out end of the
Yeah.
month. But that won't
Your friends
finish
and
until
neighbors.
April. Your friends and neighbors, yeah. Um, yeah, lot of cool stuff. It was busy, busy January in TV.
Mhm.
I'm probably going to release a couple solo reviews as well for some British TV I've been watching. So, yeah. Is there what are some other shows that you're really excited for before we go?
For 2026, I am looking forward to this show that's also kind of campy. It's on Apple TV. It's called Hijack. It has Idris Elba. Um, and the premise of it, the first season, somebody hijacks a plane. It seems like the second season, somebody's going to hijack a train. So should be interesting. Um, Yellow Jackets has their final season coming out. I'm really looking forward to that. There's a couple final seasons that are happening this year. The Boys, which
Euphoria? Is that going to be the last season of Euphoria?
no, I don't think so. I don't think so, but I am looking forward to that a lot as well. Um,
It'd be strange if it isn't though, because they're already like too old to be the
in high
age they're
school.
supposed to be.
Yeah.
I think for me, I need to catch up on Shrinking. I only saw the first season, so I need to see season two. But I think season three has potential. Um, I would definitely say Night of the Seven Kingdoms as well. Um, Beef season two. That
Yeah.
cast is really nice. And then yeah, quite a few Apple TV shows like Widow's Bay with Matthew Rhys. Sounds pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
Um, also, end of this month, you got Wonder Man, which is the new
Okay.
Marvel series. Which I'm not a big Marvel guy, but that premise about a superhero who's an actor who has to hide the fact that he's a superhero, and it has Ben Kingsley coming back from Iron Man 3 as the
Hmm.
actor who played Mandarin. Remember the twist in that film. So it
Yeah.
seems a bit more meta and a bit more playful and a bit more like yeah, I would definitely give that a try.
I might too.
Yeah,
Um,
I think it's just six episodes. That's the end of this month. So
I've only seen WandaVision in terms of Marvel TV shows.
well, you're ahead of me. I haven't even seen that.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, thank you very much for joining us. And hopefully we'll catch you again for another new TV review very soon.